Hey guys, Chauncey Phillips here. Welcome to November 29th DVD Update. I talk about all the DVDs and Blu-rays I've gotten over the last 2 weeks or so. Like I always say, guys, if you enjoy these updates, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Leave me comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys thought of the titles I checked out in this update, any future titles coming up you'd like me to review for these updates, and any titles you guys have recently picked up. Now, the first one I got from Shout Factory, Scream Factory line. It's a really cool anthology set. It's got Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror. These are actually really some of the first anthology horror movies. There was, at the time, there was Twilight Zone, early anthology series, and there was, The Night Gallery and Outer Limits. But when it came to, movies as an anthology series, these were some of the earlier ones. I'm sure there were some other ones, but I know these were really early ones, both from the early 70s. They were based off of, the comic books in the, maybe they were 60s, I'm not exactly sure, but the Tales from the Crypt in both of these are what inspired the HBO series in the 80s and early 90s. And actually a couple segments from the Tales from the Crypt movie actually got turned into, the episodes of the show, the HBO series. To me, out of both of the films, though, Tales from the Crypt is one I really like the best. It's one I've always actually really liked a lot. It's really really great vibe to the whole movie. It's some really creepy aspects of the whole thing. It's about these people who end up in this kind of mausoleum, kind of underground tomb area, and then there's like this crypt keeper type guy who's talking to them, and he's like, they all don't really know how they got there, and he's like, so where are you going next? And they're like, well, I'm going to this, and I'm going back to this party, and I'm going back home to my husband. And then he like tells them, reminds them about, or tells them about something that may happen or something that already happened. It's basically him kind of telling them these stories, and one of them is about this woman who kills her husband on Christmas and is trying to hide the body. At the same time, there's this like crazy Santa Claus outside trying to get into the house, and that's the one that they turn into I think the pilot episode for the Tales from the Crypt series. That's one of my favorite ones. The other one that I really love is the one with Peter Cushing, and I believe it was Peter Cushing, and he was this toy maker who made like toys and dolls and stuff, and gave them to the kids around the neighborhood for free. And the neighbor across the street, really didn't like this guy because he lived in kind of a smaller house and didn't have as much money as other people in the neighborhood and things like that. And he really was kind of trying to do anything he could to get him to move out. And it was kind of these terrible things that he was doing to the guy and trying to make his life miserable. And Vault of Horror, though, that film was technically, some people call it like Tales from the Crypt 2. I didn't like that one as much, but that one was about people who were these businessmen that were going down an elevator and then kind of telling about their worst fears and these like premonitions and things that they saw in dreams and stuff. And the one of that one I really liked was this magician that ended up stealing this rope from this woman, in India, and what ended up happening to him for doing that. To me, though, these are really cool, just fun, great 70s anthology horror films. They did a really good job cleaning these up. The Vault of Horror includes, though, the never before released uncut edition of the film as well. But I would definitely recommend checking these out, mainly too for Tales from the Crypt, just a really great anthology film. The next one from 88 Films, and this is these are such great fun films. These are from Trauma made these films, and this is Toxic Avenger Part 2 on Blu-ray. And I'm going to tell you, this looks amazing on Blu-ray. 88 Films did such a great job cleaning this one up. It has all the features, from the past DVD editions of the film. And then it has like a trailer reel. And 88 Films is putting out a lot of cool stuff coming up. They have all these slasher ones they're putting out. These, like I should mention too, these are all region free. So, if you're in, people in England, people in America, anywhere can watch these without a problem. You don't need any special players or anything like that for them. But the Toxic Avenger Part 2, picks up after the first film. And this is a group of these bad guys that want to take out Toxie, and because Toxie's cleaned up all the criminals and all the crime in the city, and they want to bring the crime back, so they have to get rid of him in order to try and bring all the crime back. So they send him to Japan, and it's kind of all these kind of fun, crazy things that happen to him in Japan, and the villains and things like that. And I thought this is just a really fun movie. Like I said, they did an amazing job cleaning this up. I think they they're going to be putting out, I think, next month, part 2 and 3. So that's pretty cool as well on Blu-ray. And they, like I said, they have a whole bunch of cult films coming out as well. But definitely check this out. Really fun movie and really amazing transfer on it. The next one, now this isn't the official case of this, I just made this to put it in, but I ended up, just getting the disc of it from Disney, and it's Guardians of the Galaxy. This is the actual official disc, but not the official case. But it's Guardians of the Galaxy from Disney. Like I said, I made this. This is what I printed out. That's all I could find to put it into. But this is to me, when it comes to like superhero Marvel films, I haven't seen like every one of them, but I thought this one was really well done. James Gunn directed this one. He did Slither, and he wrote the Dawn of the Dead remake. And and I actually thought it was pretty cool that he got to direct this, because it's a little bit of a different movie for him, especially from doing smaller films and nothing like as big as this. To get to do a huge movie like this, I know he's going to be doing the sequel. I believe he's doing the sequels as well. But this is about a guy who's like, as a kid, he was taken in, from Earth, and he's like, taking this ship, and he's going around and kind of scavenging and stealing things. He ends up stealing this orb, and then it's about, because of that, these bounty hunters are after him, trying to get him, and it's kind of about these group of other peoples that he's with, trying to go after the guy, trying to get him. Sort of hard to explain, but a really fun movie. I really liked it. It's also, to me, like I said, when it comes to these kind of movies, like, it's kind of with me, like, I don't love all of them, but this one I really liked, and it has a cool vibe to it. A lot of really cool practical effects, like all the monsters, at least like 90% of them are all makeup, so it's actually pretty cool to see. A movie like this normally would like do a lot of like CGI people and things like that, CGI characters. They actually, had actual real people in makeup, and I really thought that was pretty cool that they really tried to do that. I thought it was pretty cool, too, to see that. It's got a bunch of features on here, behind-the-scenes footage, deleted scenes, extended scenes, and a gag reel. But definitely check this one out. There's lots and lots of editions of this coming out. The coolest one is the Best Buy one that has, like, the case that looks like his cassette tape. The next one from Disney, as well, is the Studio Ghibli film Kiki's Delivery Service. And this is one that I had always wanted to see. My favorite one of these films, though, was Spirited Away. Kiki's Delivery Service was about this girl who's this witch, and when you're a witch, I think it was when you turn 12 or 14, I can't remember, but I think it was 12, you go off on your own for a year to get your training to be a witch. So you have to leave your family and your parents and everything, and kind of do your own thing. It's about her going off into the city, doing her own thing, and then when she gets there, it's trying to figure out what she's going to do for money and what she's going to do. So she ends up using her skills as a witch, being able to fly around, things like that, working for this company that, this bakery, doing deliveries and errands and things like that for them. And that's essentially what it is. There's other things going on with her, the other characters and things like this, but I always like their stuff. They're more like, some of the movies are, a little bit more adventurous and like kind of otherworldly, and other ones have been more like straightforward movies but like animated. But with these kind of movies, the whole thing about them is it's amazing animation. That's what you're really watching it for, too, is just really just some of the best animation and drawings that you really can get. And this is a really well done one. I always like the music, too, in these. They always have really cool songs in this. This has all the features, too, that were on the old DVD editions. The original language track as well. And then, I think the new thing on here is Ursula's painting, and but it has behind the microphone and things like that as well. And the next one from Disney is The 100-Foot Journey. And this is another one that I really like. I saw this one in theaters as well. This is about a family that moves to a small town, and they pretty much, are trying to start up their restaurant, trying to find a place to start up the restaurant. This is Indian cuisine. They bring it into this small kind of town where they're all kind of used to real fancy kind of things and not used to any kind of other cultural foods or anything like that. And they find this perfect spot for their restaurant. It's right across the street from Helen Mirren's restaurant in the movie, which is like a Michelin star kind of place, which is, real perfect, and, as they say, hoity-toity, and a real perfect place. And she is really upset about this and the fact that they've decided to start this restaurant across the street, and she's pretty much doing anything she can to try and destroy it, and keep people from going to it. But it's kind of about the family, and then them kind of starting to talking to her, and they kind of start to become friends, and it's kind of about this rivalry at the same time about them being friends. But it's just another one of those really good, feel good, positive movies. Really well acted. I like Helen Mirren was really good in this. Also love the guy who plays the father in this movie, who starts the restaurant. I just really like this one. I think a lot of people will like this movie. It's a really positive, nice movie, and it has on here 100-Foot Journey with Steven Spielberg, sitting down talking about the film. So that's pretty cool as well. And then some making ofs and things like that, and on set with Oprah Winfrey. The next one from Warner Brothers are Dolphin Tale and Dolphin Tale 2. Mainly going to talk about Dolphin Tale 2. Dolphin Tale 1 was about the dolphin that was, a true story about the dolphin that ended up in an accident losing its tail, and about them, making this mechanical tail that helped the dolphin be able to survive and still to swim. The follow-up is about all the same characters from the first movie, and they're still at the aquarium, but the dolphins, kind of ones that, like the other dolphin there that's taking care of this dolphin, it's kind of like the surrogate mother to the dolphin, ends up, passing away, gets sick and passing away from old age, and they need to find a new person another dolphin to take care of this one. Otherwise, the dolphin, that's really famous for losing its tail and things like that, is going to have to be moved to another aquarium. And that's kind of like what they rely on for all their business, and people all coming to see this dolphin. So it's kind of about them trying to find and figure out what they're going to do and all that kind of stuff. Really well-made movie, though. I always like these kind of movies. It's got Morgan Freeman in the film and Chris Christopherson. It has on here too, some making ofs on the movie and things like that. But these are just really nice family films. The next one from Wogo USA, and I don't even know if I saw the first movie, but I really love the new one, and it's cool they included both editions of the movie. They shot the movie 2 times, or most of the scenes, in English and in Norwegian. I think it was filmed in Norway. And it's Dead Snow 2, Red versus Dead. And this has, Martin stars in this film as well. But this is basically, it picks up right after the first one. And even if you haven't seen the first one, it doesn't matter, because they have in the beginning of the movie kind of a recap, like a 5-minute thing showing what happened and everything. So you get to see everything that happened, so you won't be lost. So I'm actually really glad they did that, because like I said, I don't think I'd seen the first one. I don't know why I never did. After watching this, I really wanted to see it. But it's pretty much about the guy who got away from the first movie, who ended up cutting off his arm. And he basically, what happens though, is he ends up ripping off the arm of the Nazi. It's basically about Nazis that come back from the dead. But that Nazi arm gets attached to him, and the Nazis come after him to try and get the arm back, and they're going through the town killing people and recruiting more Nazis and going around the town. And Martin Starr and his group of these friends, these girls, go with him to try and, like the zombie squad. They go there and try and, help everybody there and kill the zombies. Derek Mears is in the film as one of the characters as well, in makeup. This is a really cool, crazy zombie movie, really gory, just a really fun movie. Like I said, too, it has the international version of it as well on here. So it's cool to be able to look at them, because like I said, they shot like half the movie over again in both languages. But definitely check this out. Like, if you like zombie movies, it's just a really fun zombie movie. I always like Martin Starr in movies as well. The next one from Olive Films, and this is one I had never heard of. It's a Walter Knowing and Bruce Campbell film. And it's a kind of a fun, silly, like science fiction film, like a super, super low budget science fiction movie called Moontrap. It's pretty much about, Walter Knowing and Bruce Campbell, they were going to the moon, they found this, or going on an expedition in space, they end up finding the ship, and then something on the ship they bring back this body and this thing with them to Earth, and then it ends up taking, it's like this machine thing, and it ends up like bringing the body back to life and making this machine version of them. And they discover that they need to go back to the moon and try and figure out what's going on up there and try and figure out the origin of all this. Of course, when they get up there, it's a terrible things are going on, and there's like these things everywhere. And it's a kind of cool, weird, like one of those science fiction kind of creature, robotic kind of weird movies. It has on here a commentary track and then new interviews which is pretty cool. They got new interviews for this of Bruce Campbell and Walter Knowing. Like I said, if you like science fiction movies, it's a different kind of one. I feel like not a whole lot of people have saw. The next ones, and I was so excited that these are, Olive Films has picked up a lot of the Fox titles and is going to be putting them out. And let me tell you guys, if you're a fan of this show, definitely pick these up too, just so they see that Olive Films sees that a lot of people are interested. They put out the other seasons because this is to me one of my all-time favorite shows. And it's one of those ones too, like I feel like there really was never a bad episode of this show, and it's King of the Hill season 7 and King of the Hill season 8. If you guys don't know the show, it's pretty much about Hank Hill and his family, Peggy and his son Bobby. And, Hank Hill is a propane salesman. And it's kind of about, like, all the things that happen to them with his friends, because alcoholic friends, and them always drinking and kind of going to the fair and doing all kinds of stuff. Like the one friend is going to the hot dog eating contest and wanted to see episodes in this. And they have so many different, guests on this show, like Jeff Garlin, Bernie Mac, Michael Keaton, David Cross, Johnny Depp. Like like I said, these are kind of shows like if these. They look really good. I feel like I'm guessing these covers were almost like the covers that was going to be on when Fox was putting these out. But like I said though, definitely pick these up. These are to me like a must own. And I really, really hope we get to see the other seasons come out. These, like I said, they're just such a great show. Like to me, I never saw a bad episode of that show. I really do miss that show. The next one from Lionsgate, and I always like these movies. And it's Tyler Perry's Medea's Christmas. I know not everybody likes the Medea movies, but I just think they're fun movies. And this one was Tyler Perry and as Medea working at this place playing like the Santa character, and it's really silly. But Medea ends up going with her friend to go see her daughter and her new boyfriend. And she doesn't want to go alone, so she ends up talking Medea into coming with her. She gets there and meets the family, and it's like Larry the Cable Guy and is there. And it's just a really silly thing about all the kind of things that are going on, and weird stuff with Medea. And if you know these movies, you know what they are. They're just really fun, silly movies. And what it has on here too includes a first look at the Tyler Perry's animated feature, Tyler Perry's Medea's Tough Love, which is like a Medea animated film. I've noticed that Medea's doing, I don't think Tyler Perry directed that one. I think I saw that. He didn't, but he's acting in that one. But this one, if you know the Tyler Perry movies, like I said, I always like them. The next one, this one I ordered from Amazon UK. I think you can get it on Amazon, the US one as well. And this is another region-free one. And this is Zombievers. And I've heard a lot of things about this. Like I said, this is region-free, so anybody can watch this one. This is a really, really fun movie, and it's basically about these. It's kind of opens like Return of the Living Dead 2 with this chemical barrel that ends up rolling into the water, and it ends up rolling into where these beavers are, and it's turns them into these crazy zombies. And a bunch of these 3 girls are going to the cabin for kind of like a little trip. And of course, the Zombievers are out there coming after them. The one girl from this is who plays Jeff Daniels' daughter. They're trying to find in the new Dumb and Dumber film. I thought all the girls did a really good job in this. I thought it was a really well acted, fun movie. And you could tell everybody was just having a fun time with this. And then their boyfriends come along, and then they're trying to survive. And what ends up happening to people that get bit is great. It's just a fun, really over the top, silly movie. It really is a really silly movie, but I really like this. And it has a really cool opening scene with this cool, old 80s synth kind of music in it. And, I don't know, I would really recommend people check this out. And the next one from Anchor Bay is Sin City 2, or Sin City: A Dame to Kill For. I hadn't seen the first Sin City movie, I believe, since it first came out. This one has the 3D version, the Blu-ray, the DVD, and the digital copy. It's kind of hard for me to explain these movies. I always have a hard time, even after I watched it again, I was like, I can't explain this so well. But these are filmed like a film noir kind of movie. They do it all green screen. It's a very visual movie. But Joseph Gordon-Levitt is one kind of guy who's playing cards and is always winning and things like that. And then he ends up upsetting the one guy, and he ends up coming after him. And Mickey Rourke is always in the bar where Jessica Alba works, and then they kind of come together to try and get the guy. It's all these different things. Like I said, it's really hard for me to explain. For some reason, I have a hard time. Some movies to me, I just can't explain them. This is one of those ones I can't explain too well, but they're really cool visual movies. I thought it was a pretty good. I know it had some mixed opinions, but I thought it was a pretty good follow-up. Like I said, hadn't seen it in a long time, but it has on here a bunch of different features. The movie in high speed, green screen, the all green screen version, makeup effects and stunts of Sin City. But like I said, cool movie, looks pretty cool in 3D as well. The next one, and this is the longer version. This version is 5.5 hours longer. I believe it's like an hour and a half longer than the original one. And this is the extended version of Nymphomaniac Volume 1 and Volume 2. I really like this movie. This is about a girl who ends up getting beaten up and left for dead out in the alley. This guy who ends up, rescuing her and taking her back to his house and asking about what happened. It's kind of about her telling her whole story about even when she was a teenager, about like all of her up to now, about all of her sexual exploits in life. And it's pretty much like, for some reason, she feels the need to tell him this, and about all these encounters and things that she's done and these sort of kinky, weird things she was into, and that's pretty much what it is. It's got some real graphic stuff in the movie too, but they use like doubles and things like that for it. But Shia LaBeouf's in this, Christian Slater. I really love Christian Slater in this. I thought he played a really sad character too in some of the scenes. I don't know, but I would recommend checking this out. Like I said, I think it's pretty cool they actually put out the even longer version of this as well, because I knew they were talking about doing it, but I didn't know if they were. So I would check this out. I think it's a pretty cool movie. The next one from Comedy Central is Drunk History Seasons 1 and Season 2. And I had never, I don't think I had ever seen any of these. And it's pretty much about these characters, and I think it's actors that are telling the stories, I'm pretty sure. But they're pretty much telling, they're drunk, and I think some of them are really drunk and some of them might be pretending to be. But it's about them kind of telling drunk versions of how they remember history events, about things in different states, and about how people did certain things, and like how things happened. And they have big name actors, everybody you can imagine. They got Aubrey Plaza and a whole bunch of different people in this, doing reenactments of it. And so you don't hear their voices, but you hear the drunk people talking, and then they're lip syncing to it. It's a really interesting, weird kind of show. I think it started as a web series on Funny or Die. This is a pretty cool series show. The next one is Phantasm. This is a convention documentary. It's about a guy who's a huge horror fan, and he wanted to do a thing showing him going to all these different conventions. And he goes like Horrified, Monster Mania, Horror Hound. I don't think he goes to Horrified. I think it was Monster Mania, Chiller, all the big ones. A lot of the East Coast ones. And it's, like I said, it's Phantasm. I'll put the link for where you guys can get this. I really like this, and it's about him talking to some celebrities there, some convention goers, people that put on the conventions, horror fans, people that run it, and things like that. It's about him going to all these different ones, talking about his love of horror, and there's a couple other really cool convention ones as well that I always like Unconventional. But this is a pretty cool one. It has a bunch of extended interviews on here as well. Like if you're into convention documentaries and going to horror conventions, this is definitely one I'd recommend checking out. The next one from Lionsgate is Speak No Evil. This has Gabrielle, Dee Wallace's daughter in this. And it's, Gabrielle Stone in this movie called Speak No Evil. And Gabrielle Stone is really pretty good. She's doing a lot of stuff coming up. But this is pretty much about, her daughter ends up going missing. And she ends up pretty much finding out that all the kids in the town have gone missing. And then all of a sudden they come back. And there's something strange about them when they come back. They're acting very strange. They seem kind of weird. They're coughing up blood, like gross stuff and things like that. It's about them trying to figure out what is going on and what's happening and where the kids were and when they went missing, and it's and if it's like some kind of bad what it is, and like what ends up happening to those kids too. It's like crazy stuff that they're doing. I like this one. I thought this was a pretty cool one, well acted one. The next one from Image is The Device. This is about these people out there who are out in the woods. It's like these two sisters, and they end up discovering, one ends up discovering this kind of orb out into the woods. And then when they bring the thing back, they end up kind of discovering that there's something not good about this thing. And the one sister starts having all these crazy, weird visions and seeing things and telling the other sister about it, and them trying to figure out what is going on. And because they also see parts of like they look almost like a ship, like something might have crashed. They don't exactly know what it is. So it's about them trying to figure out what is going on and trying to put the pieces together why all this weird stuff starts happening. You start seeing weird things, and it's a pretty creepy movie. It has on here a bunch of different commentary tracks. I would definitely check this out. I think it's a pretty cool, like, kind of alien kind of movie about weird stuff going on. And the alien was pretty cool in it as well. The next one from Image as well is the Danny Glover movie, Day of the Mummy. I never saw something filmed like this. I felt like almost like someone was filmed like a game almost, because it was like Danny Glover was like on the side screen, almost like he put him like right here, and he was like giving advice and like saying like, tell him this. But it's basically Danny Glover is like telling this guy about to try and find this thing in these tombs, and I think it was like some kind of thing he was trying to, like a stone or something like that he was trying to find. And he ends up, like, one guy goes on a mission, like, in Egypt trying to find these. And Danny Glover's there the whole time going, no, like, you know, you can pass, tell them this. They'll let you go if you do this. And he's, like, most of the time he's, like, sitting there, like, because, like, it was kind of like he was filmed it on in front of a green screen. It was kind of weird a little bit the way it was, because it kept popping up. Like I said, it kind of reminded me, like, almost like one of those, like, Sega CD games from, like, the 90s. Because, like, he was there in the corner a lot. Because, like, the whole time it's found footage, like, the guy's wearing, like, glasses. And, like, Danny Glover's character is, like, watching everything that he's doing when he's on this expedition. But I kind of liked it, though. I mean, I was interested in it. I thought it was kind of funny to see, too, like, what Danny Glover was going to do in it. The next one, though, the final one, is from Wild Eye Releasing, and it's Bad versus Worse. It's about these guys who end up, these brothers, and the one guy persuades his brother into robbing this house, and robbing these houses, and they end up basically robbing the house where there's these serial killers in there in the middle of a murder, and it's pretty much about what ends up happening. And they basically go to rob the wrong house. You wouldn't expect to rob the house if there's a serial killer in it, but this has a making of feature, bloopers. I thought this was a pretty cool one. Nothing like amazing or anything like that, but I liked it. But anyway, though, guys, thanks again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later.